Yeah, ready to rock.
Excellent.
Welcome everybody, Pyrotrainia 2016 in Southern California, and we are here with our panel of instructors and going to just talk a little bit about what it's like to perform, run a business in flow and doing what you love. So we're going to start out going down the line just saying who everybody is and what their world is like, briefly.
Sure. I'm Marvin. I'm from based in Los Angeles, run the Mass Songs Prop Shop in the festival called Manipulation. And yeah, we've been in business for almost 5 years now, and I've been in the community for 7, coming up to 8 years. And yeah.
My name's Krystin. I own and operate Circus Mafia based in San Diego, California. We started in 2011, so also 5 years. And I've also been in the community for about 7 or 8 years.
My name's Kevin Axtell. I'm a professional fire performer and juggler and have been for 15 years. Along with fire performance and juggling, I also am a motivational speaker, an empowerment life coach, a seminar leader. It's the other part of my life. I've been really blessed. I've been fortunate to perform all over the world, and fire in many ways is my life.
I'm Michael Ravenwood. I own and operate Skyfire Arts, which is a performing arts company in which not only do we dance with fire, but we also wear high voltage protective suits and become electrified by giant devices known as Tesla coils and can throw 10-foot bolts of electricity as part of our show. That company has been going for about 5 years now. 2011 is when we officially started. Yeah, I'm very grateful to be here with all of you. I hope that anything I might say could be useful to you.
Hi, my name is Faeryn Rose. I am a professional hula hoop performer based in Los Angeles. I've been a student of flow for about almost 8 years now, and a professional performer for also about 5 years.
What has been one of your biggest challenges in flow and fire arts, and how have you overcome it?
Well, I'll jump in with the idea of being jaded or tired out or the loss of novelty. You know, something becomes no longer as exciting as it was, or maybe the community around you gets a little jaded, and you know, the people you're around, that affects your energy a lot. And so one of my biggest challenges has been continuing to have sincere passion and interest and zeal for my art, and that's what feeds it. That's what makes it happen. That's what makes it work. And it's easy to get tired of everything. You know, the 100th time you've done something, it can be less exciting, and it's easy to fall down negative thought paths. And so things like firewalking and empowerment and personal growth and even spirituality have helped really refuel and kindle my interest to keep going.
I'd say for me, one of the biggest obstacles that I've had to overcome is when you start a business in the flow arts, you think, great, now I get to do flow arts all day, every day, but you don't really count for all of the business work and advertising, marketing, costume design, putting together everything else, all the elements behind the 5-minute routine or the show that you put together. So same thing, keeping that lust and passion for your flow arts, even though most of the time you're just going to be sitting at a desk not flowing.
Or finding the flow of the desk.
Yeah, finding flow at your desk. Yeah, that'd be the challenge.
Yeah, I'll just throw in distraction. I think has been my greatest challenge. I'm very, very eager to take on all kinds of things. I get very enthusiastic very easily. I've experienced after, I guess it's been about 12 years or a little more of the actual flow arts that I've been practicing and whatnot. There's definitely that, part where it's like, okay, I've done it now. You have to like either pick up a new tool or find new people or whatever it is you got to do to reinvigorate your passion. But for me, it's distraction, because to do flow arts or to do anything as a business is a discipline, and you really have to bring yourself sort of back to, okay, where am I at now, and what's the next thing that I was developing to bring my company to the next level. And A lot of it does have to do with things that aren't of the flow art itself. Not learning a new trick or anything, but it's, oh yeah, I've got to develop this package, and then I've got to develop the media that represents it. The developing of the performance itself, fun. Then the developing of the media package, and then the planting of that package into the hands of the people that ultimately are going to get it in front of the people that are then going to hire you. That whole bridge is the business, and getting distracted along the way has been a challenge for me. How have I overcome it? I think it's just kind of a tenacity, or like I just don't let go. I might get like over here, but then I'm like, no, wait. And then nope, I was not yet. So I bring myself, kind of haul myself back, and part of that is remembering what you're doing it for. Like that can help bring you back when you really want to be doing this other thing. You're like, but wait, if I do this thing that maybe isn't my favorite thing, it will lead to me being able to share this message or this art in the biggest way possible, and you envision that, and it can keep you going.
Yeah, I would probably say time management, which goes with discipline. Huge. A big shift happened for me, and I knew it would happen like this when I quit my job. The thing I'm so terrified to do, and it wasn't easy. I've wrestled with the consequences of that for a while. I also have another income stream, which is massage, which is amazing. I think for any artist, that's just such a blessing when you can have two income streams, so that you don't have to be white knuckled around your earning money with your art. But even so, that transition was a tough one. But it just totally changed my game. I got so many more gigs, and I was able to direct so much more energy into my practice. So that was huge. That was really, really big. The whole press package, media, business side of it, still I'm wrestling with that one. That's a big one. So I think, I guess I kind of within that, a huge lesson that I'm still embodying, still moving through, is reaching out. All of us could benefit from reaching out more, reaching out to our collaborators, reaching out to our teachers, reaching out and just asking for help. Knowing what it is that you need help with and just asking for that. And for me, I need help with that whole branch of the business, because it's something that I just don't do very much. That said, I still had a measure of success just by nose to the whetstone, practicing and sharing my practice. I think I always come back to the remembrance that the more time I spend giving my energy to my art, the more that energy will come back around. It might not be immediate, but it will come back around. The universe listens. So that, I think, my two challenges have been time management and reaching out.
I think my biggest challenge, when I come to think about it, it's myself. Like, I think your own, or at least for me, my own emotions and my own thoughts. And it's very easy to get caught up with, see something beautiful, see something inspiring, and you want to do it. And then you question yourself, how am I not there yet? How am I not there yet? And it's constantly always not there yet, because that level is like so high. And for me, I can get so easily pigeonholed in and just keep looking at that target and eye on the prize and just going for that. But at the same time, I feel recently, even after so many years, I've come to notice that by looking in and trying to be like, the inspiration is there, and you're trying to chase it like as hard as you can, you forget the whole journey, the whole path, and it becomes only the destination, and it's not the journey. Which, when now I'm like realizing it, I'm like reflecting and trying to do steps to be aware of the journey, and it's okay to be where you are, even if you're not there yet, because you're moving constantly, and everybody moves with their own pace. So I feel like success is like subjective, because if you compare this to this, it's, oh, I'm not successful. But as long as you're working on it and moving towards the direction you want to go to, I think that's big.
was there a pivotal moment where you decided to make this a career and make this your primary income?
For me, it's interesting. I feel like part of it is part self-doing, but then part of it is like it may be kind of like it feels like it's almost fate, because some of this stuff were like in line already, and I just happened to walk there, and it's like, oh, it's already here, so I'll take it. Oh, it's already in line on the same one, so I'll take it. And with all the timing and all the things that I guess in my life that I've done, it brought me to that position, and the timing was correct, and then, so I took the plunge. That's me. That's what happened to me.
It's just about being aware of when it's the right time for you to make that leap. Like for me personally, I had always grown up as a performer on stage, as a dancer, and thinking that I had to do a job as something that I made money as doing a job, and then I was to dance as my passion on the side. And I was constantly working towards this 9-to-5 goal to have those moments on the side where I can do my passion. And I really wasn't happy. I was working all day at a job that I didn't love, doing things I didn't care about with people I didn't enjoy being around for most of my day. And then I wasn't actually until I got into a car accident and I almost died, and I lost my car. I lost my job because I couldn't drive to work, and then I lost my house because I couldn't get another job because I was so emotionally distraught about having to go back to a job that I hated in an emotional state after having almost died, that I was just in like pretty much mental turmoil. And it wasn't until I was like, wait a second, there's already these things inside of me that I love doing, that I'm already doing, that I can share with other people. And it wasn't until I was able to just share my story and my passion with people every day that I realized that it was there the whole time, that all those pieces were there. And it just took me a second to realign the puzzles in a way that I could share it with other people.
I can think of a few pivotal moments. One is the first time I did street performing and walked away with a hat full of money. I just had fun for an hour, and this happened. Wow, like that was a real click. I had a totally pivotal moment, where I was dishwashing at a place called Garcia's Taqueria in Sonora. Greasy burrito dishes. It was hard work, and I didn't like it one bit. And I quit that job, and I never worked another like classic job since that moment. That was a huge pivotal moment. There was this part of me that's like, I'm not even happy with the pay I'm getting for this. I'm miserable, and I won't live my life like this. And so that was a real pivotal moment. And then my first fire show, that was huge. When I just went out there for the first time, and huge response. And last one, my first fire drums festival. I went to that festival, and I'd been to juggling festivals, and suddenly it's like, ah, yes. So that was those were pivotal moments for me.
Well, I've never been very good at doing things that I didn't really want to do. I tried, I did, and I wasn't very good at it. After a while, I would always sabotage myself because I didn't actually truly want to be there. And so I would end up either being late consistently, or I would end up saying a very truthful thing to a person who didn't really appreciate it because I just couldn't take it anymore. So that's one thing I encourage everybody to really notice, like what kind of a person you are. How much can you really take? And if you notice, no, really, because there's a lot of people that will stay for decades in a situation they don't really like, and to dubious benefit. So, I check in with yourself and see, like, do you really, is it just gonna go that way anyway, and you might as well go that way now, or check in on that level, because that's kind of how it was for me. I will share one of the most remarkable stories of my life, so how the whole company that I now own and operate started. So I was thinking to myself one day, I was already a fire dancer for a couple of years, and I didn't even go into that to be a performer. I just love dancing with fire, and the way that whole started is similar to this next story, but more or less I just ended up spinning fire, and I just loved it, and then somebody was like, well, come over here and do that, and I'm like, well, I'm not really into that. We'll pay you. And I was like, oh, really? So then, that kind of started. Anyway, I was a fire dancer for a couple of years, and I was thinking to myself, oh, I love to dance with flame, like the roar of the fire, the light and the shadow. I just love it. What would it be like to dance with electricity? Like, that's a primal energy. It's kind of thrilling, kind of dangerous. What would that be like? And 2 weeks later, before I can do something stupid like strap stun guns to the end of a stick and tape the buttons down, which was my plan at the time, I end up standing in line, and the guy standing next to me, in Starbucks of all places, and the guy standing next to me starts talking to the woman over the counter about his lightning project. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, I don't mean to eavesdrop, but I cannot help myself. I was just thinking about that, and I tell my story. And he's like, it is really weird that you would run into me, because I make some of the largest Tesla coils in the world, and I have designed a suit in which you can effectively dance with lightning, but not 1-inch arcs like the ones from a stun gun, but 20-foot long arcs from some of his coils. And I was just like, get your number. Now, it took me years and other coincidences, which I won't go into at this time. I have to be respectful of time. But essentially, that's what got me into the whole thing. So, if I can share anything, it's like really listen to those moments when you say to yourself, God, I really love that. Or, wow, what that person's doing. That's really me. Go talk to that person. Or just listen, heed the inspiration that arises from within you, because that kind of energy is free. It's free energy. It's constantly coming to you. It would take you more energy to plant yourself in your seat than to get up and do that thing that you really love to do. So pay attention to that, and pay attention to the way the universe talks to you after you really say to yourself, I want to do that. I'm going to do what it takes to do that. And watch, because the breadcrumbs are there, and we have only to heed them.
Oh, so well put. So well put. So there's been definitely these amazing moments where I've been in crowds listening to some music that's just pumping just right, like hit me so good, and my body just wants to explode into movement, but I'm in a crowd. And it gets to this point where it is more energy to tamp down that inspiration than to let it come out, and it literally becomes painful. So I've climbed on top of the speakers. I've been that person, and what's great is that I've never, except for one time, been called down off of something that I've climbed on. Because I let that inspiration just come pounding through me, and people, including security guards, enjoyed watching it, and have shaken my hand when I've descended, and people have come and thanked me for me stepping into that, and that feeling that I felt when I satisfied that, when I let it move through me, like, that was so nourishing, that feeling, that I pursued performance as a career. Around the same time that these things were happening, that I was just beginning to climb speaker boxes, my speaker box climbing career, I was at Burning Man, of course, Burning Man. People say, how did this hooping thing, how did you get into hooping? I'm like, 2 words, I got 2 words for you, Burning Man. At Burning Man, and I was watching a hula hooper. I could see her silhouette. I see this image still so clearly in my mind. Hooping up on a scaffolding, kind of like high up against the sunset. And I just knew. I looked at her and I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm going to do that. And a lot of hoopers, a lot of flow people will tell you they know that moment. They saw it and they're like, yes. Like everything in them was like yes, I want that. I'm going to get that. And I did, and I chased it down and I got it, and it didn't happen overnight. I had to, I ordered a hula hoop and couldn't hoop for the life of me. And so I took a class, and that just got me going. And it revolutionized my life, as many people have experienced. And really it just was following that bliss. Like you say, it was just following that thing that gave me joy. And so those two kind of things combined, the thing that gave me joy and realizing that I, in some ways, was put on this planet to share the bliss of dance. So that is how I came into my career as a performer.
First off, as far as fire performing for groups, I find that sometimes I find this to be a challenge even between me and my friends of like proper price points. I feel like if you go too low, then you're like selling out, and at the same time, if you go too high, then you have sometimes your close friends which will go below you and give you all.
Great question.
Great question.
Let's try to keep it to an hour each. Well, I'd love to open up with something that we've been doing recently up where I live, and that's being very clear and honest with our fellow fire performers about what we're charging. There's this counterintuitive sense that you shouldn't do that, or don't tell other performers what you're making, but it's
important.
I'm not saying it's us versus them, performers versus people who hire performers. It's not us versus them. Right. But in a way, there is this line between them. And the more we inform each other what we are charging, I told Jeremiah, this Ren Fair, I got $1,000 for the fire show. He's like, really? They were quoting me in 700, and so suddenly he's more informed about the situation. So I just want to open up with your question, and there's a bunch to be said, and I'm sure they'll say it too. But with the idea that communicating openly with your fellow fire performers is in all of our benefit. And the more informed we are of each other and what we're all doing, the more position you have when it comes to negotiating with clients and contracts. And that's been this recent thing for us.
So I'll say that's the first thing that leapt to my mind to say was communication. And what I was going to say is communication between fellow performers. And you're going to find out who are the people who really don't care. And they just want to get the gig, and they'll be there. And you can't, technically do anything about that. Because if they want to, provide that low price, then they're going to do it. Now, the thing is that they're not creating a sustainable situation for themselves, though. So you kind of let them do what they're going to do.
Monetarily or socially.
Yeah, exactly. Monetarily or socially, correct. So, you to some degree you have to let go. Another degree, communicate, like be really clear and open and honest. And I do want to go even a step further and say that it kind of is us against them in the sense that I'm even joking on saying it.
It's an emotional
Because,
time for us.
because sort of the very foundation of the philosophy that I'm sharing through my company is that there is only one being, and it's us. And quantum physics has discovered that there is only one thing here, it's energy, and it takes on a lot of different forms and interacts with itself in a lot of different ways, but really it's only one thing. So when you say it's me versus that, it's like it's me versus another part of myself. But we have divided ourselves into all these little individual parts of ourself, and in order to interact with other parts of ourselves and enjoy that. So in this game, this particular type of game, it is us against them. And they are absolutely trying to get us for as little as possible. That's their job.
Right.
And we are doing our best to get as much as possible. So we have diametrically opposed interests.
Right.
And that's when you say versus, whatever. So being really present to that game and looking around and seeing, okay, who are the other fire performers? What are they capable of? What kinds of shows are they putting on? Okay, what kind of cost do they or what price do they ask for that kind of a? Okay, if I want more, I'm gonna have to provide more, and you're gonna have to make it clear to that client that they're getting more. So there's a whole knowing that there is a game going on, and without taking on that whole negative vibe of versus, meaning domination or submission or all that stuff, just saying, okay, it's a game. All right, we're going to play this game. And, how am I going to win this game without putting anybody else down, but elevating myself regardless.
Well said.
Yeah, I think what I often will tell a client is you will get somebody for less money, but they are more likely to be sloppy to be less professional. Maybe you don't show up on time, maybe not show up ready. They might not be insured. You want me because I've been doing this for this long, because, sell yourself in that regard.
Insurance is huge.
Insurance is big.
Yeah.
Some-
Insurance. Right?
Yeah, a note I'll say just in the hoop community, this is kind of beyond fire specifically, but there's been a lot of grumbling within the hoop community because it is a very easy prop to pick up. I'll be honest, it is. You can do some pretty things with a glow hoop after like several weeks. And so there's a flood in that community. There's been a lot of new lovely faces. I'm so happy that that's happened. But then there's now a stigma around hooping that you can find any hooper for $25 to show up to something, and so this, I know, right? Just like,
don't do that.
Right? And so, a lot of hoopers, feel, oh gosh, there's just no way to make any money doing hooping now. The way I respond to that is elevate what you're doing then. Okay, now we got to get together and make some choreography. Now we have to it's like the challenge. The world is now saying, all right, step up, make it even better. And then there'll be a clear delineation between like cute girl who's been hooping for 5 months and professional troupe who's bringing something polished and isn't, just killing it.
Music, costume, like I said, choreography. There's a lot of dimensions of what it is that we're doing.
Another good tip, I think, is so after you've put all these things into play, you've talked with your community, and now you have a price point that works for your location. Southern California is going to be different than, middle of America. So now you have your price point, and then you go to your client comes to you and they say, I want a show. And you go, okay, great, this is how much it's going to cost. Of course, they're going to try and talk you down. They're going to tell you, oh, we have no budget, we'll give you exposure, all of the classic. The classic. So what I like to do is I like to just ask them, great, are you a nonprofit organization? If they're a nonprofit organization, I'm happy to give you a discount with, numbers, and you fill out the paperwork. I'd be happy to give you a discount. Otherwise, I'll just ask them, like if it's a friend, or if it's a backyard party, or if it's a free event that nobody's charging for, the price might be lower than if it's a gala, or if it's a corporate event, or if it's something where they're charging a ticket amount, a festival. I'll just straight up ask them, great, what was your attendance last year for your event? And they'll say, we had 10,000 people come to our event. Wonderful. How much did you charge per ticket? $20. Great. You have a $20,000 budget you're working with. So my $500 a performer for a fire show shouldn't be like that much out of your pocket if you're making $30, $50, $100,000. So you just do the math right in front of them, and it's kind of hard for them to fight back when you clearly know how much budget they're working with. So I would say just ask them those two simple questions. How much was your attendance last year, and how much do you charge per ticket? And that should give you a good starting point for what that client's budget is.
May I also interject if we're talking about negotiating with corporations or anything like that? There's also an energy of behind the way you're describing your fee and your level of confidence in what you're charging.
Mm-hmm.
If you're speaking,
1,500?
if you're speaking in a hesitating way, they're going to feel that, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, right? So there's a level of, or putting together a formal package, in an email or something like that. This is my fee, and that's it. This is my fee. Then there is no negotiation.
It's also where having an agent comes into play. It could be helpful too, because a lot of times artists, whether visual artists or performance artists, they're good at their skill, but they're not necessarily good at telling people that they're good at their skill, that they're worth that amount of money. So, but to have someone else go, no, Marvin's worth that amount. I'm representing him. He is worth that. It's easier to get the price that you want than you to be like, I think I should get this amount.
One thing that really helped me early on, changed my success level with performance, was to look for the no. Your friend asks you, do a fire show. He's your friend. What's high for your friend? 500 maybe? I don't know your friend.
Sure.
But that's high. Let's say for you, you know your friend. That's high.
Right.
500? No. go down if you're interested in going down, if it's still worth your time. But once you get the no, you know where their no is.
Right.
And you can go down. But when you quote too low, you're done.
Back up.
Yes.
The quote is done. You're not going back up. I've never had a situation where there was just that one quote and they go, nah, and I couldn't go back and say, well, I could work with you if I wanted to. If it wasn't worth it at all to me, no, I'm out. But if you look for the no, you know how high they will go.
Right.
And that's a good sales strategy. Anything on...
No,
Okay.
I think you guys pretty much cover all of it.
Anybody else have questions?
Good thing we wrote some questions.
Yeah. Curious to know so making the shift from learning how to dance with fire and flow and all of that to actually doing it as a career, creating income off of it, what's the shift in mindset? What's the kind of mindset do you have to have in order to be in that space?
The not fun stuff. The boring stuff. Hours and hours of it. And
But
that
what kind of mindset?
well,
do you need
constantly,
to do
for
that?
me, I constantly remind myself why I'm in it. I'm going to die someday. I want to live the life that I want to live. Every moment of this existence, I want to have some say in it. And so reminding myself that, no, I need to do this in order to get to this point. You were talking about it. But reconnecting with why I want to really be doing it, because the mundane, we're artists, we're object manipulators, we move, we create, so that for a lot of us the mundane is much tougher.
I got another one, which was very challenging for me, and it came in waves and phases and whatnot. But knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're good at and what you can reasonably do in a period of time, and finding people that just love to do that stuff that you're just not really that into, and that you're not going to really be that good at because you're not going to put the hours in that they're happy to put in. So this is another strategy. One is just being able to do the discipline and just know, I don't really want to do this, but this is going to lead to that. Like you said, keeping the eye on the prize and going, that's at the end of this. So I can just breathe and feel the feeling of resistance around this task and allow that feeling to just sit and just do it anyway. And that is at the core of discipline, like doing something that you don't really want to do because you know it's going to arrive at the end that you want. And so, so on the one end, the discipline, and then on the other end, try and find partnerships, try and find, alliances with people who love to do those things that you're not really that into, and chances are you're going to go a lot farther, a lot faster.
Finding the work in play.
In the play and work.
In the play and work. But really, there's a shift when you want to be earning money from something. It will become work. There'll be some aspect that once was play and now is work. That's a really dismal way of looking at it, but it kind of just is true. There are moments when I'm drilling something that I'm like, I am so done drilling this. Like, I really don't want to work on the 4-split anymore. Can I just, I just don't. It's not working. Why is it not working? And I'll just keep going because I've got my eye on that prize. Because I don't know. There's certain things that you just get so hell bent on, and you're like, I'm gonna do this. Do this.
And sometimes it snaps, and then you laugh,
Yeah.
and it is fun. Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah. It is a little bit like that, actually.
Yeah. Or just like the little successes. You have to look to the little successes. Like, I held that for like a 0.5 second. Yay!
Celebrate the little successes.
Yeah,
when you have a
definitely.
success, when you get a victory, over the top. Relish, celebrate it, be happy about it.
Ride on the ground.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever it is.
Did it.
That was actually going to be my next question: is what has been your greatest victory or the greatest reward you've gained from pursuing this as a career?
There's this quote that always gets me, and it's actually based on a scientific study. People on their deathbed, by a vast, overwhelming majority, regret what they didn't do and what they didn't try and what they wanted to go for but never did. you have a few people might regret some serious mistakes that they made in life, but generally, at the end of your life, as a vast majority, humanity regrets what we did not do or what we did not try. And so for me, it's like, no, I don't want to sit back. I don't want to have regrets. I want to try exactly what I want to try.
I've got two. As part of my fire performance, I share spoken word. I'm a writer also, and so I really wanted to make. At a certain point, I was realizing there's this division where, like, I want to be an ecologically conscious human being. I recycle. I do all these things, like, I get metal spoons instead of taking to-go spoons. I have my own spoon I carry around with me, and I to-go cup and all this stuff. But then here I am, like, as a fire performer, burning yet more fuel. And I'm thinking to myself, how does this line up? So then I kind of, like, really had to sit with it. And I thought, okay, there's no denying that it feels like I was born to do it. And when people see me do it, they say things like, you were born to do that. And I'm like, okay, it feels like it's in the flow, or I'm supposed to be doing this. How can I do something that is going to offset that, that's going to, like, negate my carbon footprint or whatever? And so I decided to take some of the most profound truths that I've ever come across or realized through my life and write them and then share them before I fire dance. And so one of the greatest, most exhilarating feelings I've had is that when I finish a performance, somebody will come up and they'll say something to me like, and I had literally this thing said to me, "That was amazing. I mean, the performance, of course, your fire spinning was awesome, but that thing you said." And they're like, "I'm having this fight with my brother, and that's exactly what I needed to hear right now." Because, and then they'll tell me what's going on. I'm like, okay, fucking awesome. That's what I'm doing this for, is so that, there can be some healing between this person and their sibling, or so that there can be some understanding that this person might have walking away from my performance that they didn't have before. And they might treat the earth with more kindness, and they might treat those around them with more kindness. And then my project as a whole is about actually creating an educational platform so that we can actually offer people tools, like concrete tools, where they're neutralizing their carbon footprint. My ultimate goal is to have the whole thing tracked so that my whole project is carbon positive, even though we're throwing lightning bolts. But anyway, so that's one thing is the feedback I've gotten from spoken word. And the other is that recently I got the opportunity to perform at the Olympic Stadium in Korea. And there was 25,000 people looking right at me, and all the lights on me, and on all the video screens with me on the video screens, and I threw the first bolt of lightning right when the music crescendos, and I would swear that 25,000 people to the one went, "Oh!" Like they all just went, "Oh!" Like they couldn't fucking believe what they just saw. And it completely wiped my brain, and I didn't remember my next move. I had no idea what I was supposed to do next. But fortunately, I had been spinning Fire Sword for many, many years. So I just said, I'm just going to spin Fire Sword for a second. I'm just going to flow, man. And it's all going to work out. So then I just kind of started playing. And then I'm like, oh, and the music caught. And I was like, oh, yeah, this part of the music, I do this. And I went back into my routine. But for that moment, their awe and their wonder and their surprise and their shock and amazement became my own. It just wiped my mind clean. And just to know that I was able to touch that many people so profoundly, and people have said things to me like, when I first saw it, like I thought I was dreaming because I've never seen anything like that except on TV, and I'm just like, yes, like that's what I want to do, is just blow people's minds open. Like what was previously, their threshold of what's possible just went,
Yeah.
So those are two things for me that are like the great, the juice.
Oh.
Yeah, anytime you can break down that fourth wall from somebody, from participant to voyeur, that they can participate, that anybody can be a performer, that anybody can own their own business, that we're not some select few that are doing something special. That anytime I see that click in somebody's eyes, like, whoa, I can do a backflip, or I can juggle, or I can make a website, or whatever it is that I can share with somebody. Anytime I see that light in their eyes, be it a child or an adult, I feel like that's the success for me.
Yeah. I just wanted to add, when I, as far as pinnacle moments, because I kind of deviated from the question, when I actually hit a certain stride with gigs and pay, and like, oh, whoa, this month is fine. Whoa, next month I'm fine. Like, there was this real, like, wow. It takes a while. There's this old adage about an old water pump. The first few times you press down, you get nothing. Right? You have to keep pressing while there's nothing, over and pumping and over again until it starts flowing. Then the water pump is just flowing forth. And it's kind of like that with abundance in gig life, at least for me. I was pushing and struggling and fighting it, but I kept fighting. I didn't stop pumping. I was just, where's the freaking water? And then it starts to come, and then it starts to come, and then it's effortless. And then I'm letting go.
Gigs.
And repeat gigs.
Referrals.
So that moment, that was pinnacle, like, wow, I'm gonna make it.
Yeah. And then the next month you're like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. Everything's crashing. What am I doing in my life?
I have a kind of pinnacle moment that wasn't when I was performing, but it was when I was out at Electric Forest with my best girlfriend and hoop sister at doing the Electric Fairies. We were part of the Electric Forest Hoop Troupe that year, 2013, and I had put up a couple videos that had gone a little bit viral, then one video that's like since gone very viral. It's, isolation tutorial, which is all the rage right now, so a lot of people have seen it. And twice girls came up to me and were like, oh my gosh, you are the reason why I'm hula hooping right now. Like, just like floored with gratitude that person found me and delivered that message, like, because my hoop mama, the person that got me to hoop, is so near and dear to my heart, and to be that for somebody else is just like such a blessing. So that was a pinnacle moment. And then, there's been a couple moments where I've been performing with a DJ, like a producer that makes just my favorite sound, like Closey right now, just bless that woman, or Desert Dwellers. Desert Dwellers have been a gracious artistic duo that are very welcoming to performers. So performing with them and just crunching my body into their music, really feeling it and landing in the moment. Those have been some really juicy times.
I guess one of my biggest pinnacle moments, I guess, was in 2015. For those who don't know, I come from Malaysia. Spent 2/3 of my life there. Not like America. Currency is lower, almost like 5 times to 6 times. So people there, if you've been to Southeast Asia, you'll kind of get the idea. It's kind of almost impossible to even travel out to the Western world. It's just too expensive. You would have to work multiple lifetimes or invest in Western world business, able to invest into it. But so last year I come from there. I spent 2/3 of my life there, and I spent about like the other 1/3 here. And last year, 2015, I was able to travel to multiple continents, probably like 10 to 12 countries in 12 months, all over South America, Brazil, Europe, Asia. Even went up to Alaska, and one of the biggest moments was both times now at EJC, which is the largest prop manipulation convention in the world. I mean, 7,000 to 8,000 people, 50 countries, 10 days long. So I was there, and they were like, so you're gonna teach a workshop? Are you gonna teach a workshop? And I was like, not really. I'm here on a vacation. And they were like, but the Italians are waiting for you. The Italians are waiting for you. And I was like, sure, I'll teach a workshop. So I signed up for the workshop for Tuesday or Wednesday, and I showed up. There was almost 200 people from, I don't know, 50 countries. I was surrounded in a circle, and it was unbelievable to be able to get appreciation from the thing that I love doing anyways, and putting it out to the world and sharing it with all the people that are so appreciative of it. It's unreal. It's not even about the money, like for me. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing this evening, and would love to close out with whatever final share you'd like to offer, including one piece of advice you'd give to anybody who's looking to make the transition into creating a career around flow and performance.
Okay, I'll start. Talk about what you want to achieve. Speak the words out loud to your friends, your community, and your family. Talk about it. Say it. Bring it into being. Say it over and over again. I think that's a really important place to start. When you just constantly keep it in, there's a certain nature to getting it out there so that more continues, and that the first time you say it, you won't believe it. But the 50th time you say it, you'll start to believe it. You have to believe. If I'm going to be a full-time performer, if you're like, oh God, I'm going to quit my job, probably die, and my mom's going to dissolve me, but I'm going to be I don't believe that I'll be a full-time performer yet. But if I keep saying it, keep talking to friends about it, letting them encourage me, bringing it up over and over again, then you'll start to believe it. Because I mean, step one, if you're really going to go at it, you have to believe in your own ability to get there. Yeah, it would be tough. Yeah, you're going to fall down and scrape your knee. You're going to have to get back up over and over and over again. But you can do it. You can take the hits. You can get back up. You can keep going. So my top suggestion is to speak out loud into the world that which you want to see manifest in your life, and say it over and over and over again. If I were to do one suggestion.
My biggest suggestion would be to set small goals, achievable goals, and then every day make small steps towards achieving those goals. Like, even if it's really simple, like make a business card one day, put out a Craigslist ad one day, just make like a little brochure one day, set some prices for stuff one day. Like, every day just pick one thing that you're going to do to progress the business, and just do it. That's the hardest part, I think. Is it's like easy to talk about it and to tell your friends. That's step one. And then step two is to physically just do the work. That's really the main difference between a dream and a reality, is just doing a little bit each day to make that dream a reality.
I have one. I think there's this book called Big Magic. Really good book. And I think it's very easy, like I said again earlier, to like say compare yourself to other people that have been doing it, or this person, because there's always people in front and always people in the back. So if you can compare easily, and then all of a sudden you fall into like a place, I'll not be able to achieve it. And it comes with both places where like you make small adjustments towards the direction that you want to go. And finally, even if you never reach here, maybe you reach here, but you're moving towards there though. And by doing small steps and enjoying the magic that's happening between here will make it all so worth it. Like, even if you never reach to the final step.
Nice.
I was gonna say, put down the device and flow. Close the computer and flow. Step into your practice, and film it. Ironic, right? Because it's gonna go right.
So that you can film yourself.
So yeah. Well, I say film it because this is something that I wish I had done more over the last couple of years. People love progress videos. Gosh, people love progress videos. You're gonna love that progress video. You're gonna love looking back and seeing, oh my God, I was there 3 months ago. Look where I am now. That's amazing. You'd also never know who you're gonna inspire. You never know. You're going to change somebody's life. They're going to see that video just randomly on their feed because somebody, or maybe it gets really popular. So random people who have no idea what flow is are going to see you, and they see you having so much fun, and then be like, what is this? And type in, whatever it is, and boom, the graces of eBay or Amazon, they have it at their doorstep now, and now they can step into flow. because I honestly think that the world needs this right now. The world needs this right now. It's the best way to love. The best way to change the world is to change yourself, right? To love yourself, and loving ourselves, we're loving the world. Swear to God, it's hippie. It sounds so hippie, but it's true. We can change the world by changing the way that we treat ourselves. So step into flow. Step into flow as often as possible. Other piece of advice is try your hardest not to compare yourself to others. Take the inspiration without demeaning or beating yourself down. It's so hard. Like, I do this all the time. I'm inevitably on my device scrolling through my stupid feed, and I'm like, why am I not doing that gig? Why do I not have that move down? Close the device, throw it over your shoulder, go and flow. It does not matter. Take that as an inspiration. Take that as fuel. The moment that you do step into that flow space, you will remember. You'll remember really why you're there and why you do it. And all of that will just be fluff details behind you. So yeah, step into your practice.
So I've got two things. So one is practical and one is sort of magical or spiritual or whatever you want to call it. So the practical thing is rituals. Science and modern science has developed all kinds of really amazing insights into the nature of reality, and there's actually another whole science which people sort of have turned away from because a lot of it is associated with religious systems which to some degree have been invalidated, or at least the systems that they say created the universe have been invalidated through modern science. But there's actually a lot of ancient sciences that exist which have taught us generation after generation how to use the opportunity of being human to really fulfill ourselves. And ritual is one of those things that has existed for thousands and thousands of years. And it is a device, it is a tool, it is a technology, whatever you want to call it. It is a way to return to something you knew was important at one moment. So we have these flashes of inspiration. Oh, that's so amazing. Oh, I know I should do that. I really should do that. I can feel it in this moment. It's so clear to me in this instant. I need to do this. And then if no ritual is created around that to remind you, like something as simple as putting an empty glass by on your nightstand, by your bed. You wake up in the morning, oh yeah, I'm supposed to drink water every morning. It's like right there. You just do that. And, oh, I need to pee. Oh yeah, peeing. After I pee, I meditate. Drink water, pee, meditate. You know what I mean? You put the meditation cushion, right when you come out of the bathroom. There it is. And then you just do that every day. And so rituals like, for example, congratulating yourself. Because it's going to get tough. If you do anything that it has any level of depth, it's going to get challenging at some point or another. So doing what you love is going to make sure that you've got like the juice to go into it and go deeply into it. But at some point, like, you know, either you're going to get caught up comparing yourself to other people, or you're going to get caught, whatever it is. But if you remember to make a ritual out of, oh yeah, I'm going to check out my videos that I did last month. Every first of the month, you're going to check out last month's videos or whatever. You're going to be like, wow, I am better at that now. Oh, you just make an institution out of bolstering yourself through that challenging process. Then you can make it through. It's when we despair that we let go. It's when we lose our focus and it's gotten too hard. Oh, this thing looks shiny. And you don't want to do the hard thing anymore because this thing is shiny and it's nice. Mm-hmm. So rituals. And then the other touches upon what you said in regards to, like, if you want to see the world be a different way yourself. And Gandhi had a famous statement, you be the change you want to see in the world. Well, something I found out through quantum physics and study of various spiritual traditions and mysticism and whatnot, is that he didn't just mean that in the way that we normally might conceive. Like, we normally would think, well, you can't ask another person to be a way that you're not willing to be yourself. So if you want to see a different thing in the world, then you be that person's the example of that, or that could at least have the foot to stand on to tell somebody else to be a different way. And to some degree, it means that. But actually, what we've discovered with quantum physics is that everything is connected, and that consciousness is the mediating factor whereby quantum potentiality turns into actual physical reality or manifestation. And there's the Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen experiment, there's the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, and there's the Schrodinger's cat, and there's all kinds of different dimensions of quantum physics. If you look it up and you research it kind of distills this picture of reality, and ultimately quantum physicists went, and were shown these like ancient texts, and the way that they were describing reality using these most sophisticated forms of physical science is pretty much exactly the way that ancient mystics were describing reality. And so the bottom line is that everything in your world is a reflection of your own unconscious process. Anybody who comes into your world is actually there for you to experience, so that you might resolve some unconscious conflict that you might have, or to facilitate an inspiration that you have. Or there's so it really is. It isn't at all about trying to change the world out there, because there is no world out there. There is only us. There is only this one reality. And so as far as like that goes, into flow and like what advice would be, it's literally, that what you choose to place your attention on becomes you. And so like choose very carefully where you place your attention. And treat all things like with a kindness that you would want yourself, because when you carry around judgment and these kinds of things, it ends up becoming a weight. If you can just let all that go and cruise forth, then you're in the flow.
Change yourself. I couldn't agree more. The idea of people, he's so-and-so, or the gigs are not doing this. You can't control that in that way. Don't blame external circumstances. Don't blame external circumstances. It's something we've all done. We all do. I still do it occasionally. I try to catch myself. It's life-changing. Just know and say, I can change my thoughts. I can change myself. I can change here who I am. And like you say, radiate it. That becomes you and your experience. It's so true. Thank you, panelists. Mandy?
Let's see
sorry.
what Bruce Lee got to say. Been sharpening his card.
Oh, nice, nice.
What does Bruce Lee have to say?
Walk on.
Wise words.
Beautiful. I love our panel. Thanks so much, everybody on the panel. Thank you to our audience. Thank you, Pyrotrainia 2016.
Good panel, everybody.